Welcome back to another episode of the Jessica Ella podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Ella. And for those of you who are new here, I am Australia's leading women's trauma therapist and founder of Aruka Therapy, which is a four-pillared healing approach that works across subconscious, somatics, beliefs, nervous system, energetics, and processing of memories. So today's episode is why can't I trust my intuition? And it's an interesting subject. So we're going to go through a couple of different reasons why people might not be able to trust their intuition, but also how to trust your intuition and what that actually takes. And the first thing that just sort of pings to my mind is that the word trust. Why can't I trust my intuition? The word trust is so important here because self-trust is what is required in order to actually trust the intuitive messages. We all have an intuition. There's no question about it. We all have it there. We all have a gut instinct. We all have messages that come from our body. Whether you believe in your intuition as a spiritual, connection to God, creator, universe, or the quantum field, giving you information, or whether you relate to it more as a bodily response, both of them are true. Both of them are ways to access your intuition. But whether you trust those messages is what's really important. And the only reason that people don't trust their intuition and can't connect into it or trust its guidance is because they've lost trust in either God, universe, creator, or in themselves as a person through conditioning and their subconscious beliefs about who they are, but also potentially lost trust in their body. And a lot of people also become very disconnected from their body because they hold so much pain and suffering and emotion that they don't want to deal with. They dissociate. They check out, they go into a dreamlike state. And, for some people, it's mild dissociation of daydreaming. And some people, it's like depersonalization, leaving their personality and existence entirely. So the level to which you can work on self-trust and work on trusting your intuition is going to be dependent on how much trauma you've had, how disconnected you are from your body, how disconnected you are from something greater than yourself. So these are the places where we want to be working. So let's talk about the body first, because the body has its own intelligence. The body actually, there's been so many scientific studies where the body actually reacts to something that's about to happen before it happens. And a micro example of this is when a ball is coming at your face, you put your hands up before your brain has even registered that the ball was coming at your face. How does the body know to brace before your conscious awareness has even registered what's happening? It's because the body has an intelligence that is a couple of steps ahead. And people don't realize just how much the body stores and how intelligent the body actually is because we're disconnected from it and we're not educated on it. So one of the most profound things that I learned when studying the nervous system and learning about implicit memory, which implicit memory is memory that's stored within the body. It's automatic reactions that we have to things. So an explicit memory would be the day that you learned to ride a bike. You remember it was sunny, you had your pink bike with your wheel spokes and you were riding along and, mum or dad was pushing you. That's an explicit visual picture memory. Implicit memory is the memory that allows you to jump on that bike today and pedal without thinking, turn leg, balance, having to really think about it. Same memory that helps you to drive a car. You don't just use implicit memory for driving a car and for riding a bike. You use it all the time. What actually happens is a lot of trauma and a lot of reactions to things throughout the day are coming from body memory. And people don't realize, circling back, one of the most powerful things I learned when I studied the nervous system and did a nervous system certification was that actually we think that a lot of information is coming from the brain down to the body, but the body is 2 steps ahead. And so the body is actually sending 85% of information up to the brain. Only 25% comes from the brain registering things in the environment and telling the body what to do. This is why regulating from a body perspective is so powerful, because if you slow your breathing, you're sending 85% of information and signaling to your brain, we're safe, we're calm. Like deep breathing is a sign that we're calm. It also, if you're deep belly breathing, you're stimulating your vagus nerve, and stimulating your vagus nerve regulates your nervous system. So on a body level, you're regulating your nervous system, but also on a brain level, you're sending this signal saying, we're safe, everything's good. What a lot of people try to do is they try to hack their mind, mindset hacks, and they try to hack the mind and think positive and override the body. You have to be doing both. You have to be working at the brain level, at the subconscious mind level, at the thought level, whilst also including the body, because it's sending that information and it's multiple steps ahead. If you're disconnected from your body, and so many of us are disconnected from our body, I remember there being periods of time where I was so disconnected from my body that I would hold on to a wee for hours until I was about to wet myself because I didn't even register that I needed to go to the toilet. I mean, I've had an extreme level of trauma. If this is your first episode, you'll hear about my trauma throughout multiple other episodes. I have had an extreme level of trauma, so my dissociation level was intense. But a lot of people can relate to this, where we just become so disconnected from our body that we don't get its messages and its signals. And if you learn how to speak to your body, and this is what we speak to your body in Aruka therapy sessions, we communicate and have a conversation with the body. You learn how to do that for yourself. And so once we learn how to listen to our body, how to come back into our body, and for those of you who are wanting to do this deeper work on yourself, I have a program called Trigger to Thriving. So in Trigger to Thriving, one of the meditations is actually a healing activation where I get you to bring your conscious awareness back into your body. And a lot of people will do this and they'll all of a sudden go, oh, I have pain here and I notice this and I feel this, because they've been so checked out. And what happens is when you start to communicate with your body, there's messages and information, and you actually start to begin to trust yourself. But until you've healed through a level of trauma and pain, and you're not going to feel comfortable in your body, and you're going to keep leaving. So I feel like I'm just like banging on here about the same thing every week, but doing the deeper work and actually healing the trauma so that you can feel comfortable in your body is the first starting point. Because otherwise, you'll do this technique, you'll come back into your body, you'll feel all of these emotions and you'll dissociate again because it's too much. So why the emotion? Why the pain? Why the checking out? Why do you have to leave your body? When did you learn to leave your body? Why did you have to leave? What was happening to your body? What was happening in your life that you couldn't cope with, that you had to check out? Heal that and you'll be able to stay in your body. And when you can stay in your body, it's going to give you those messages. In the same way that you'll pop your hands up before a ball comes at your face, you'll also get these nudges to go speak to that person. No idea why, but your body just gets drawn towards certain things. And you feel this pull, like a physical pull towards and away from certain things. And once you start listening to that, that's like one of the most powerful forms of intuition that you can have. There's been so many times in my life, there's a really pivotal moment in my life that I don't like to talk about because I don't like to talk about my ex-husband. He's the father of my kids and I never want to speak badly about him. But there was a time in my life where I was really questioning the relationship over and over and spinning in my head all the time. What about this? What about that? And I started to communicate with my body and I was like, my body has the answers. And I asked my body and I started to tune in and be like, how do I feel when he's around me? Do I want to move towards him or away from him? And it was away. I wanted to move away. My body wanted to move away. My body would tense up and lock up, and every cell in my body was just telling me that this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel like where you need to be. And I started to trust that. And instead of going in circles in my mind and overthinking, there's a great saying, if you're overthinking and you're spiraling, then you're underfeeling. So if you tap out of that overthinking, you come into your body, it'll tell you. And it's pretty direct and it's pretty intense. And sometimes you can go straight back into your head and be like, yeah, but just because my body doesn't feel safe, like that's me, that's my nervous system, the body will tell you. So learning to listen to the body comes from being one in the body. So Trigger to Thriving would be the perfect place. You'll learn all of this in so much more depth, but also have the tools there to regulate, meditations to pull you back into your body and to notice what's there and to be guided through that. But the idea here is that we get this communication going with the body, and we use the body's intuition and the body's intelligence. And for anybody that's still a little bit skeptical on the body's intelligence, one of the most powerful things that I learned was that the heart, even if we just think about the heart alone, the heart is such an amazing, incredible part of our body. I believe that it's what connects us to God, creator, universe, our spiritual side. Our heart creates its own electrical impulses, which create our heartbeats. This is why your heart can be removed from your body, and for a period of time, it will continue to beat on its own. It's literally giving you life force, and it's inside your body. And so connecting into the heart and asking the heart for guidance, to me, is like the most spiritual, connected, profound thing that you can do, because it's literally giving you life, and it's literally creating an electrical impulse that is each beat from nowhere. From nowhere. It doesn't rely on anything else in the body. I mean, apart from blood flow, it doesn't rely on anything to create that beat. Those beats come from, I mean, who knows? Science will science will uncover one day where those electrical impulses come from. But I dare say, quote me now, it's coming from the quantum field. It's coming from the universe. It's coming from that field. The body is the first spot. And this is why I teach heart coherence. I teach even more about the heart in Trigger to Thriving. I'm really banging on about it today, but honestly, I've just had some feedback over the last few days from people that have finished it saying, like, what the actual fuck is this course? It's incredible, because I'm taking you through every stage that I went through in my healing journey, from shame and grief and pain and suffering and the lowest of low, through to feeling a bit better, through to diving deeper into myself, through to power and excitement and life force and spirituality. It's the whole journey. So body, coming into your body, listening to your body, trusting your body, realizing how incredible your heart is, how incredible heart coherence is, how incredible the body actually is. The second part to this is actually understanding, especially when intuition comes in from your conscious mind or your higher self, understanding whether it's, a lot of people struggle with, is this anxiety or is it intuition? Is my intuition telling me something here, or is this panic? Because we can often feel like this thing's going to happen, this bad thing's going to happen. And we can go, I need to do this and that. And that's my intuition telling me that this bad thing's going to happen, when actually that's trauma. That's trauma recreating a situation. That's trauma guiding you. It's a past memory that's been triggered, and you're unconsciously thinking that you're back in that moment and replaying that moment in a new moment. The brain doesn't know the difference. When it's triggered, it goes offline. So how do we know the difference? How do we know the difference between if it's fear or if it's intuition? And I kind of just gave away the answer. If it's fear, it's fear. If you have an intuitive message, even if that message is that something bad's going to happen, you feel calm and clear about it, because you're like, all right, I have this intuitive message that this thing's going to happen, but now that I know about it, what can I sort of do to prevent it? The intuition is giving me this message for a reason. So what can I do to prevent it? What can I do to heal it? And there is a calmness that comes with an intuitive message. The conscious mind / consciousness / creator / God / universe, that's a high frequency. That's unconditional love. That's the highest frequency available. It's not hitting you like a light bulb with fear. It's hitting you in a profound way. It feels open. It feels expansive. The intuition that you're getting it confused with is the fear. It's the fear that hits you, that what if this happens? What if that happens? That fear and that chaotic feeling is never your intuition. It's just not. It just doesn't work in that way. What it can often be is that you've got an intuitive message come in from the conscious mind, or from, creator, whatever you want to call it. And it comes in, and then your limiting beliefs and your programs take over. And they take over and go, what about this? What about that? The best example of this is someone might have an intuitive message of, I'm going to sign up to this program, and this is the right thing for me. I feel it in my body. I feel it. This is exactly what I've been looking for. And they go to do it. And then they have these subconscious beliefs. What if it makes it worse? What if I don't heal? What if I end up losing everyone in my life? What if I don't have the money? What if I blah, 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 blah? All those fear and limiting beliefs come in to keep you in the same place. Because as I've spoken about in multiple other episodes, your subconscious is designed to keep you where you're at, because where you're at feels safe and comfortable and familiar. So intuition, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with some difficulties, because intuitive messages, sometimes they feel really light and open and exciting. But as soon as you bring them into your human's like, we don't deserve that. We're not going to get that. That's not possible for us. Who do I think I am? That's your ego. That's your human mind. That's your subconscious. And that's not a sign for you to stop. It's not a sign for you to stop following your intuition. It's a sign that you've got some blocks there between what your conscious mind and creator soul universe wants for you and what you want for yourself and what your human has been programmed with. And I know as somebody who I feel like creator, God, universe, whatever it is, programmed me with this, like, you got a big message, you got a big mission, you've got to like be confident and powerful, you got to get out there. And it put me into this fucking human that was tortured and abused and in every way possible. Any trauma you can think of, I've had it. It was like every limit, every obstacle, every negative limiting belief. I was started out with worthlessness, with like self-worth that I struggle to put into words. Like I literally remember describing myself as more insignificant than a piece of dirt under somebody's shoe. And I often said that it felt like my dad treated me like something he had stepped in. That was my level of worth. And so the soul's mission and the consciousness and where I knew I wanted to be versus how I'd been programmed to live and believe what I deserved and believe that, my life path could not be further apart. And I don't think that that's by accident. I feel like I had every type of trauma, verbal, physical, sexual. I'm permanently deaf in my left ear from physical assault. I have been bullied. I've been criticized. I've been betrayed. I've had grief, loss, every type of trauma you could think of so that I could figure out how to heal it, so that my soul's mission would make so much more sense, so that my soul's mission was so much more aligned. And my soul's mission is to reprogram. The human that you come in as isn't always who you're meant to be. It's the parents that you had, it's the experience that you had. But some people just take that as, well, these things happened and, now I'm a worthless piece of shit, or this is who I am and this is who I'm always going to be. And this is all I deserve because people have always treated me like shit. So I must deserve that. I must be a worthless human being. We have these beliefs and they're not ours. They're coming from experiences with other people. But if your soul is saying to you, surely there's more. Surely I'm made for more than this. Surely I'm supposed to feel better than this. Surely I'm not supposed to wake up with anxiety. Surely I'm not supposed to stand in a room of people and think that everybody else is better than me and superior to me and that I'm ugly and disgusting. And surely there's more for me than that. Surely that's not who I really deeply am. If you have that, that's a sign to me that you're ready for more. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it and everybody would be walking around like Buddhas. Everybody would be walking around like spiritually enlightened. If it was as easy as just, doing a bit of energy work, if it was as easy as just, clicking our fingers and being like, I don't want to be that person anymore, I want to be this person, everyone would do it. It's a process, and I'm not saying it's easy. The literal bio of this podcast is that it is for brave women who are ready to uncover the real reasons that they suffer. And that's hard. It's hard to face yourself. It's hard to go through it. But the way that I've always lived is with eternal hope. And with each obstacle, believing that each obstacle is taking me one step closer to what my soul wants and to what I was meant to be here for. So I take those roadblocks as evidence that there's just one more thing that needs to be worked on. And so I want you to look at, if you can't trust your intuition and you're getting these intuitive messages but you can't trust them, you need to build that self-trust. And in order to build that self-trust, you need to work on all of this. You need to actually go back into the past. You need to reprogram your identity. You need to build this sense of trust with yourself once you've proven to yourself that you can heal through these things. And that's what this work is. It's evidence that you can do hard things. It's evidence that you can heal. And bringing it back again, because I love to always tie in like the spiritual with the logical, like bringing this again in is like each time you do a hard thing, which a session is a hard thing, you actually do release dopamine and you reward yourself, but you also reprogram your brain scientifically to believe that you can do hard things to help you to keep progressing forward. So if you never try, you're just going to be stuck in that victim loop forever of never trying. If you actually do the hard thing even once, it shows your brain what's possible. Your brain goes, oh, wow, I had this memory that was like a constant cause of suffering for me. And all of a sudden, there's no charge. It's gone. I feel great. Here's all the rest of my shit. Your brain's like, here you go. Here's all these other memories and all these other emotions. And people can feel like they're going backwards, but it's all coming up because you're building trust with yourself in that you have something that works. So try the program, try the therapy. You can find it all on my website. I just highly recommend even one session, you're going to notice a difference. And so you literally have nothing left to lose. I'm going to do another episode on this. I'm going to do a part 2 with like practices and ways that you can actually start to strengthen your intuition, more so from a perspective of understanding like what the messages sound like, what they feel like, the different types of messages that we can get. I'm going to deep dive into that. But for today, this felt like the right thing to say. I hope it's exactly what you needed to hear. If you know somebody who needs to hear this, please share it, subscribe, comment, like, love. It all helps me so much in keeping the podcast going and sharing all of this information with you. I will see you in the next episode.